Okay. Hello and welcome to Women in Biogas series, the initiative brought to you by the World Biogas Association's Connect Plus community, a dynamic community of global stakeholders in biogas, biomethane, and anaerobic digestion. My name is Kavya Kunampilli. I'm the policy lead at the World Biogas Association, or WBA, and today I have the pleasure of talking to Benli Liliana Ramírez Higareda. Let me start by introducing Benli. Bentley is a biochemical engineer from Mexico with a Master of Science in Sanitary Engineering from UNESCO IHE Delft Institute in the Netherlands. With 18 years of experience, she has built strong partnerships across the water, wastewater, and biogas sectors through her technical expertise, commitment, and leadership. Bentley is a co-founder and former president of the National Biogas Council in Mexico, or also known as CN Biogas, a nonprofit created in 2018 that promotes resource-oriented sanitation and supports the biogas sector through collaboration, capacity building, and policy engagement. On behalf of CN Biogas, Bentley contributed to a major mathematical modeling project for biogas production at the Atotonilco wastewater treatment plant, the largest in Latin America and the third largest in the world. She is co-author of 7 technical publications on biogas and has coordinated several diploma courses in partnership with Mexican universities. Today, CN Biogas has 78 active members from 7 countries across Latin America and Europe, and is also a key participant of WBA's National Association's Roundtable. Bentley was acclaimed as highly commended in the Women in Biogas 2025 category of the World Biogas Industry Awards in Birmingham in 2025. So I'm very excited to talk to her to understand her journey and her motivations a bit better. Welcome, Bentley. Great to have you here today and great to see you have come prepared with a professional mic. You've done better than me already. As I mentioned just then, you trained as a biochemical engineer and later specialized in sanitary engineering. What sparked your interest in biogas in particular, and was there a defining moment where you knew this was the sector that you wanted to commit yourself to?
Okay, first of all, thank you, Kavya, for having me,
Yeah.
and to the World Biogas Association for the invitation. Well, after graduation, I actually didn't choose to work in biogas. I knew almost nothing about biogas. All these issues like climate change, greenhouse emissions, clean energies were not at all at the spotlight at that time. But when I got my very first job 19 years ago, I joined a water engineering company. And I had initially thought that I would simply work in wastewater treatment. But suddenly I realized that there was something much bigger. The main innovation of this company was a patented configuration of an anaerobic reactor. And I clearly remember the moment during my training when I was introduced to the anaerobic microorganisms, the biogas production, all this energy potential, and it truly blew my mind. And the possibility of generating renewable energy from waste was amazing. And I didn't just fall in love with biogas, but also with the broader concept of resource recovery from waste. I mean, we can recover biogas, but also biofertilizers and other valuable subproducts from waste. And that perspective changed my career ever since. Later, I decided to pursue a master's degree in sanitary engineering in the Netherlands, a country that has been a global leader in water management and technologies. And being there allowed me to deepen my understanding in these technologies, their application, their potential, and well, I have been using them for integrated systems.
Great to hear about your journey and how you got into it. I think we all have different parts into it, so it's interesting to see how you got there. So you've clearly got a good breadth of knowledge across Mexico, Latin America, Europe, and of course, commended in the award that I mentioned earlier, Women in Biogas 2025 at our awards. How has your perspective on the sector evolved over the years?
I will highlight three key aspects that have changed in my mind during all these years. The first is the responsibility of doing things right in the sector. At the beginning of my career, I was somewhat idealistic. I was in love with biogas and somewhat living in La La Land. But that changed quickly because a few years after, I lost two colleagues in an accident caused by biogas inhalation in a confined space. And that moment marked deeply, first of all, because of the loss of their lives, of course, and also because I had to work in that plant for some weeks afterwards. And I was very nervous, and it made me careful and fully aware of the importance of the security systems, the safety the design, the safety and robust design, and all that required to treat and manage biogas. And since then, I understood that cutting costs in biogas security is not efficiency, it's very risky and it's negligent. So biogas is not only an opportunity, but it's also a big responsibility. The second aspect that changed my perspective in my understanding is the value of biogas. At the beginning of my career, I used to consider energy recovered from biogas as an optional benefit. And I thought that whether you implement or not implement a biogas project depend on the economic feasibility of using it as energy source. But through my involvement in international technical consultancies, I came to a different conclusion that biogas should not be understood only as a source of energy. Because if we reduce biogas to electricity or heat production, it struggles to compete with cheaper renewable energies like solar or wind. And that comparison is incomplete and also unfair. Biogas systems provide much more value. They are not simply energy, it involves waste management, pollution reduction, biofertilizers, water reuse, and so on. And the third aspect that has reshaped my perspective is the importance of political will. At first, I believed that promoting biogas projects was mainly about demonstrating technical feasibility, raising awareness, looking for finance, but that is not enough. The sector cannot scale without active government support and will, real political will. Because biogas should be understood as a strategic tool, one that enables sanitation. And it's incredible that it enables sanitation across very different contexts, like from remote communities to large cities, from small farms to complex industrial systems. So that is why governments need to create the regulatory framework, incentives, and give institutional support to unlock the potential of the biogas sector. And that is why we founded the National Council of Biogas in Mexico, the Consejo Nacional de Biogas, in 2018 in order to help uh, driving to drive the necessary changes in the policy level and to strengthen the development of the sector from the top to the down.
No, that's incredible to hear. I'm very sorry to hear that you lost some of your colleagues, and I'm glad that it's incredible to see that it's still driven you to bring about better performance in our sector. For me, it's clear from your viewpoints that when we think about best practice, we need to think beyond just environmental sustainability. We need to make sure that we look after the people, look after the safety. So that's crucial. And I really like that you mentioned that we need to value the entire value chain of the sector and not just focus on energy, which has been the forefront of discussions, probably because it is probably the most obvious thing that we talk about. We're called the World Biogas Association, so that does kind of come front of mind, but I think there's more work to be done to talk about digestate, to talk about bio CO2. And like you said, governments play a key role. This is what we're seeing across the sector, across globally, that governments play a key role in signaling that this is a viable sector. So thank you. Thank you. Very good to hear your perspective on that. So from your experience, what are the biggest opportunity for biogas and biomethane globally right now, and what needs to change to unlock the full potential of our sector?
Well, the biggest opportunity of biogas lies in something very simple that is the organic waste is already there, uh, and it is already emitting methane, whether we capture it or not. So the real opportunity is to shift from uncontrolled emissions to control systems. And we have proven technologies that allow us to treat all these residues in confined, well-designed systems, optimizing biogas potential and turning waste into valuable resources. But unlocking this potential requires two key conditions, that is political will and collaboration. Biogas does not scale without enable regulatory framework and long-term policy. And without these conditions, projects can fail. And sometimes it's better not to build them at all than to implement them poorly.
Mm.
In Mexico, there have been a lot of bad experiences where significant investments resulted in abandoned infrastructure due to weak design, lack of follow-up for the operation, maintenance, and capacity building. And it's very, very sad to see all that abandoned infrastructure. And the second critical element is collaboration across all the value chain. Biogas is not a single actor industry, it is a system. And it involves waste generators, the ones that transport the waste, plant owners and operators, technology and engineering providers, the companies that will upgrade biogas into biomethane, the end users, etc., etc. So to move forward, we need to align all these actors and share the benefits.
Yes. If I could ask a follow-up question, how important do you think is reputation for the sector? Like you mentioned, some poorly designed plants didn't follow through as planned. How big of a hit was that reputationally, and does that have an impact on the growth of the sector going forward?
Yes, reputation it's crucial. And in the National Biogas Council, we started to have like a um, in order to be part of the National Biogas Council, you need to be approved by the committee, so we can know and the public can know that your practices are well, that you are not a part of all these um, industries and companies that have built bad bad projects that ended ended with bad investments, with lost investment. So the reputation we had to like to to clear to to clear the sector to when you um, sweep when you sweep and take out all the companies that have been doing bad projects, and you want to keep the ones that are able to properly install projects that will end up in with good results.
Interesting. So you're working on making sure that the ones that are progressing well are represented through the
Yes.
CFI, I guess. initiative. Excellent. Okay. So another thing I wanted to ask about is, so we at WBA are eager to understand the experience of women in the sector and actually have a survey that we conduct every 2 years to collect insights on participation, career pathways, leadership, and access to support and training. So I'm excited for your perspectives on this. If a young woman is thinking of about a career in biogas or environmental engineering or adjacent, what would you most want her to know before she gets started?
Well, I would like to give two messages. The one is generic. The first one is for any young person, a professional interested in the biogas sector. And is that if you want to work in this field, you are very welcome. We need passionate and committed professionals, whether you're female or male, that doesn't matter. Prepare yourself, study, learn uh, from the others, listen carefully, others' experiences, understand the basics, go to the field, visit plants, understand how the system really operate, really works. And if you have the chance, get your hands dirty and experience the field. And focus less on proving your worth or showing off and more in doing your job well in a thoughtful, rigorous, and collaborative way. And if you do it consistently, things will fall into place. And my second message, specifically for women, is that being a woman is not an issue, is not a limitation. It's not an strength. It's not an issue. Being a mother, raising a family, taking care of loved ones, including ourselves, can be a challenge, and I will not deny it. Mm, I don't know. Nowadays, there is a pressure on women to be perfect and successful in everything. Um, and there are a lot of phrases like you can have it all at the same time, and successful women saying in inspirational tone that if I could do it, you can too. It can be good, but on the other hand, mm, our lives and our contexts are very different. So sometimes the balance between professional life and personal life, it's it's a journey, and sometimes it's difficult, and sometimes you have to choose, and sometimes you have to decline some work opportunities, or sometimes you have to manage how to take care of your loved ones. And so I will say, maybe of my experience, that don't feel guilty, don't feel like a loser if you cannot handle all at the same time, handle everything at the same time. Don't feel down, don't feel overwhelmed in this burnout driven society. You know your pace, take into account your priorities. You know what your loved ones need from you and what you need from them. And the only one that who knows what will give meaning to your life is you. So there are no universal role models. There are no perfect lives. Every life and context is different. You don't have to follow any role model and any path. Just listen to yourself and you build your own path at your own pace.
Excellent. I really like that. Just get involved and do the best you can, and only you know what you can do. So that's very helpful to hear. Finally, I wanted to know when you look 10 years into the future, what role do you hope biogas and biomethane will play in the global energy and circular economy context? And where do you see your own contribution evolving?
Well, looking ahead in Mexico and Latin America, I hope that in 10 years, biogas and biomethane are no longer seen as something exceptional, but a standard practice, a common practice. Um, I really expect that the biogas uh, is seen like a tool to support sustainable development in the global south, and that biogas and biomethane can kill two, three, or four birds with one stone. And because currently we are dealing with severe environmental and social problems due to lack of sanitation and poor waste management. So we can address energy needs while simultaneously manage waste, improve environmental and public health. And for me, it is important to connect much more sectors that are often treated separately, like water, waste, energy, and the integration of all these sectors is essential to really build a sustainable world. And I hope that in the near future, we recognize that circular economy will not save the world. It is not enough. It is not enough to think about green growth, energy transition, um, climate change, sustainable development. We also need to talk more about other deeper options like transforming the economic system, reducing consumerism, and even the growing economy. And in terms of my own contribution, I see myself continuing to work at this intersection of water, waste, and energy, which is my field of experience. I am currently launching, together with two friends and colleagues, a new civil association to integrate these three areas to strengthen collaboration, and I will continue collaborating with the National Biogas Council, of course. And I think that this will be my long-term commitment and the central part of my professional path moving forward. And I will um, keep trying to rethink how to build a better world, one where people can have access to water, to energy, food, and safe environment in order to live with dignity, and where future generations can also thrive.
That's so great to hear. That's very inspiring. Thank you very much for sharing that, and obviously wish you all the best in the endeavor that you mentioned. With that, I wanted to close the conversation. Thank you very much again, Bentley. We at WBA always appreciate your enthusiastic inputs. Ever since you've joined, you've been a very vocal part of our association. So we always appreciate your insights, your participation, and your vulnerability even in this conversation. So that was very great to hear.
To you, Kavya, and to the World Biogas Association.